Welcome, fellow explorers. Today, we're taking a deep dive into our planet's most precious resource, water. It's the lifeline of our entire world, and together, we're going to uncover some of its biggest secrets. So here's our map for the journey ahead. First, we'll get into why clean water is so vital. Then we'll investigate the dangers of pollution. After that, we're going to discover nature's amazing cleaning crew, the wetlands. And finally, we'll look at the threats they're facing. Ready to jump in? Let's go. All right, let's start with the big one. Why is clean water so incredibly essential? I mean, it's way more than just a drink, right? It's pretty much the building block for all life on Earth, from the tiniest plant all the way to you and me.
Okay, for us humans, water is absolutely non-negotiable. Think of your body like a really complex machine. Water is what keeps all the parts moving smoothly. It also helps power our digestive system, to get energy from our food. And of course, it's our first line of defense against getting sick, washing away germs to keep us healthy.
And what about plants? Well, for them, water is both their food and their backbone. It's a key ingredient in photosynthesis, that amazing process where they make their own energy from sunlight. But it also fills up their cells, giving them the strength to stand up tall. Without it, they'd just wilt. Now, for animals, water plays two huge roles. The obvious one, of course, is for survival. Every single animal needs to drink. But for so many species, from the tiniest fish to the biggest whale, water isn't just something they drink. It's the world they live in. It's literally their home. Okay, so now that we know just how important clean water is, our journey takes a bit of a darker turn. We're heading into some murky territory to investigate those unwanted guests that threaten our water, pollutants. The difference between clean and polluted water is really night and day. On one side, you've got pure, life-giving water that's safe for everything and everyone. But on the other, you have water that's contaminated with harmful stuff, turning it from a source of life into a real danger. So what do we call these things? Well, any substance that doesn't belong in water and causes harm is called a pollutant. And as you can see, they can come from just about anywhere. Factories, farms, oil spills, and even the waste from our own homes can all find its way into our water. To really get a handle on them, we can basically sort pollutants into three main types. First, you've got the insoluble ones, things like oil and plastic that just won't mix with water. Then there are soluble pollutants, like chemicals and fertilizers that dissolve and spread around, almost invisibly. And finally, you have harmful living organisms, tiny germs that can make water unsafe and cause diseases.
Let's just quickly get three key terms straight so we're all on the same page. Pollution is the big one. It's when our environment gets contaminated. This is often caused by effluent, which is that industrial liquid waste you might see flowing out of pipes. And a specific type of effluent from our homes is sewage, all that dirty water from our sinks and toilets.
But hey, it's not all bad news. Nature actually has an amazing built-in solution for cleaning our water. So now it's time to explore the incredible power of wetlands, our planet's very own super filters. So what exactly is a wetland? Well, to put it simply, it's any area of land that's soaked with water for a really long time. Places like marshes, swamps, and bogs. Those are all different kinds of wetlands. So if you were out in the wild, how could you spot one? Think of this as your field guide. First, look for that swampy, muddy ground. Second, see if you can find plants that love water, like reeds. And a huge clue is a high water table, which just means the water is super close to the surface. Now here's something cool. Not all wetlands are the same. We can actually classify them based on how long they stay wet. You've got temporary wetlands that are only wet for a few months, then there are seasonal ones that are wet during the rainy season, and you guessed it, permanent wetlands are wet all year long. And to really bring this to life, let's talk about a world-famous example right here in South Africa, the incredible St. Lucia wetlands in KwaZulu-Natal. It's this huge, breathtaking ecosystem that is absolutely teeming with life. So what makes wetlands so special? Well, think of them as giant natural sponges. They soak up massive amounts of rainwater, and then they release it super slowly over time. This is so important because it helps prevent droughts by keeping our rivers flowing even when it's not raining. And that same sponge-like quality also makes them incredible flood defenders. When floodwaters come rushing through, that whole network of plants and mud acts like a natural break, slowing down all that destructive force.
It's amazing. It protects whole communities and habitats downstream from being washed away.
But wait, their superpowers don't stop there. Wetlands are also master filters. As water trickles through all those plants and soil, it traps dirt, chemicals, and even germs. They're basically acting as nature's kidneys, cleaning and purifying our water completely for free. So wetlands are clearly invaluable, right? But despite how hard they work for us, these ecosystems are disappearing at a really alarming rate. For the last part of our journey, we need to look at the serious threats that are pushing our wetlands to the brink. Let's focus on just one type of pollutant for a second: oil. How does it even get into our water? Well, there are a few common ways. You've got major leaks from huge oil tanker ships, factories that irresponsibly dump their waste, and even just people pouring old car oil down the drain. And remember we talked about insoluble pollutants? Oil is a perfect example. It doesn't mix with water at all. It just floats on top, creating that slick. This is absolutely devastating for birds. The oil sticks their feathers together, which means they can't fly, and they can't stay warm, and that's often fatal. The dangers that wetlands are facing are just relentless, and they come from all sides. Here are four of the biggest threats. They get drained to build things. They suffer from overgrazing, where livestock eat up all the important plants. They get choked by pollution and trash. And sometimes they're taken over by invasive plants that just suck up all the water. And that's where our journey ends today, with one last, really crucial question. We've seen that wetlands are nature's kidneys, they're nature's sponges, and they're nature's flood barriers, and they do all of this for free. So the question we all need to ask ourselves is, why are we letting them disappear? Thanks for exploring with me today.